Hello and welcome to my championship preview and predictions show. Today we'll be having a look at the New Year's Day games. So after a great couple of rounds with some amazing results, the likes of Norwich coming back against Nottingham Forest, and then Derby coming back against Norwich, and then Leeds coming back against Blackburn as well. It's been an amazing couple of rounds of fixtures in the championship, and today we'll be looking at the New Year's Day games. Thanks so much for everyone who tuned in. If you do enjoy, please make sure you smash that subscribe button and like the video if you enjoy. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy. So the first game we are going to look at is Aston Villa versus Queen's Park Rangers. So Aston Villa have been my tip for a while to end up in the playoffs, and I really do believe they will be there or thereabouts come the end of the season. Queen's Park Rangers are on 38 points and are in 8th place, with Aston Villa just below them in 9th place after having 3 defeats and 2 draws in their last 5 games. So it's not really been going Aston Villa's way as of late. They've been throwing points away, a la Leeds, which isn't very good. They've only had 1 win in their last 5 games. They've had 3 draws in a row, which is not good enough. So they need to start picking up some more wins. And QPR, they've had 1 win, 3 wins, 1 draw, and 1 defeat in their last 5 games. Aston Villa, I think they'll have enough to beat QPR. I really do. They have a lot of firepower, and I think they'll have just enough to beat QPR. I'm going to go 2-1 to Villa, and they could go just behind Derby and Middlesbrough if they were failed to get points with a victory. So that would be really big for their push towards the playoff spot. So next game we have is Blackburn versus West Brom, a game that could go either way. West Brom are currently in 3rd place, despite Norwich and Leeds both getting defeated in the weekend. They also failed to win as well. They drew with Sheffield Wednesday, and a win would have taken them level on points with Norwich. So that is very disappointing. But in their last 5 games, 2 draws, 3 wins. They are looking very good indeed. They will be playing Blackburn, who have lost their last 3 in a row and have failed to win in their last 5 games. I feel like they'll get a win here because Blackburn, they're out of form totally. I think it'll be tight, but I think they'll have just enough. I'm going to go 2-0 to West Brom, and a win and Norwich getting defeated could see them go ahead, or even a draw would see them go ahead for Norwich if they were to get the win at Blackburn. Brentford, they are taking on Norwich. Now, Brentford, after a really struggling period under new manager Thomas Frank, they seem to have got a bit better. They've won and drawn 2 in their last 3 games, draws against Birmingham and Bristol City, and then that win against Bolton. So things are looking up. Norwich City, they have lost their last game, but 2 draws and 2 wins in their last 5 games as well. I don't think Brentford are very good, and I don't think they'll have enough to get anything from this game. So I am going to go for a Norwich win. I'm going to go 3-1 to Norwich, and they could go back to top of the league if Leeds were to lose against Nottingham Forest. Next game we have Derby versus Middlesbrough. 2 sides that did very well, and I remember these 2 meeting last time, and it finished 1 apiece with Bogle scoring a late own goal as an equaliser for Middlesbrough. So Derby and Middlesbrough are on 42 points each, 5th and 6th place respectively. Personally, I think Derby, they're the team to win this one because they are in much better form than Middlesbrough. They look better. They're quite good at home. I'm going to go 2-1 to Derby, and that would see them potentially go as high as 4th. Derby and Frank Lampard's side are looking very good at the minute. Next, we have Hull versus Bolton, and Hull, despite being in the bottom half of the table, are the form side now. They went to Leeds, the leaders in the championship, and won 2-0. They won their last 4 games in a row, are unbeaten so far in their last 5 games. They are looking very good indeed. They're scoring goals, they're not conceding, and they're looking really good. And if they continue this form, they could hunt for the playoffs come the end of the season. So they will be taking on Bolton. Now Bolton, they got their first win in God knows how long, since about September. The other day beating Rotherham, and they also got a good point against Stoke, and they are now outside of the relegation zone. But Hull, as I said, they are in really good form, so I'm going to go 3-0 to Hull, and that would see them go into the top half of the table should results go their way, which you'd imagine they would, which would be really good for Nigel Atkins' men. It wasn't long ago that they were fighting right down at the bottom of the table, and now things are desperately looking up. It reminds me a bit of the QPR story, struggling, and then they had a lot of good results. So I'm going to go for a 3-0 win to Hull. Ipswich entertain Millwall in an absolutely massive clash at the bottom of the table. Ipswich Town are in bottom of the league. They have had just 15 points and are 10 points behind Millwall, who've won their last 2 games, beating Nottingham Forest and then Reading as well. Ipswich, they're doing a bit better, but they're still losing a lot of games. Lost 3 of their last 5, 1 win and 1 draw. But I'm going to go for an Ipswich win. I think that they might get something, but it seems every time I predict this, it doesn't happen. And then when I didn't predict them to get the win, they won. But I'm going to go for an Ipswich win regardless. I'm going to go 1-0 to Ipswich, and that would see them be 2 points off Reading, which could be absolutely massive. They're starting to claw their way back. They're not quite dead yet, Ipswich Town. The next game is the big one. Forest versus Leeds. Two sides that are absolutely doing totally differently of how I expected. Leeds, I expected to be around the playoffs, but they're top of the league, and they have a 5-point cushion over third place. Nottingham Forest, I expected to be really doing well in the playoffs, pushing for automatic promotion, and they're 10th place with no win in their last 5 games. Now they need to get something from this game. Leeds, they won 7 in a row before that defeat to Hull. It could go either way. It's hard to tell. But I'm going to go 1-1, and I think that would be a good point for both teams. But Leeds should be looking out and going to get the win. Nottingham Forest desperately need a win because they're totally out of form. But I'm going to go for a draw there. Next, we have Reading versus Swansea City. Reading are absolutely desperate for some kind of win at the moment. They have had a new manager. They've been taken over by Jose Gomez, the Portuguese manager, and they are in 23rd place and are 2 points off staying up at the minute. Swansea are in 13th place, and they're just having a very average season. They didn't really invest too much over the summer, and they have a lot of players on big contracts, the likes of Wayne Routledge, the likes of Wilfred Boney as well. So they need to probably offload a lot of players in January if they can, and then try and bring in some younger players who will be on a lot less, and try and have a bit of a push towards the playoffs come the second half of the season. Reading, they're absolutely desperate. No win in their last 5 games, 3 defeats and 2 draws. They're absolutely desperate, but I'm going to go for Jose Gomez to get his first win here. I'm going to go 3-2 to Reading, and that would be absolute priceless 3 points for Reading. Rotherham entertain Preston in our next one. Rotherham, they are now just gone into the relegation zone after that defeat to Bolton. So really, it is quite concerning. 3 defeats in a row, and I'm expecting another defeat. Preston, they are not too bad. They're much better than the teams down below them. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Preston. But Rotherham, they picked up a hell of a lot of draws. So maybe they'll have a draw, but they desperately need to win this game. Because if Bolton were to pick anything up, or Millwall were to pick anything up, they could start to be cut adrift a little bit. I'm going to go 2-0 to Preston though. Sheffield Wednesday, they are playing Birmingham City. Now, Sheffield Wednesday have had a bit of a resurgence as of late since they sacked Jos Lukai, even Jose. What am I talking about? They beat Preston, they beat Middlesbrough, and they also drew with West Brom. They probably should have seen that game out as well. So a lot better under Liebel and the caretaker manager than under Lukai. Birmingham City, they're doing very well. 2 wins, 2 draws and 1 defeat in their last 5 games as they are trying to get into the promotion picture. Personally, this one could go either way. It could literally be any sort of win or any sort of draw. But But I'm going to go for Sheffield Wednesday to get the win because they're at home and because they're on a good form. And maybe their promotion push is not yet off. It seems like Steve Bruce is going to go there. He'd be a brilliant appointment, somebody that knows the league and has had several promotions to the Premier League from the Championship. I'm going to go 2-1 to Sheffield Wednesday. Stoke will be taking on Bristol City. And I've said for a while that I think Stoke will be in the playoffs coming in the season, but it's just tapered off a little bit now. But they can still achieve that if they start making things happen. They have had 2 draws, 2 wins and 1 defeat in the last 5 games. Bristol City, they've had 2 wins and 3 draws, so undefeated in the last 5. And they're both on the same amount of points. And that does generally point to a draw. So I'm going to go 1 apiece. And I'm going to stick with that. Yeah, 1 apiece. A very, very drab result there, but it is what it is. The final game is Wigan versus Sheffield United. Sheffield United, they are doing very well. 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat in their last 5 games, and they are doing miles better than people anticipated. And I'm a big fan of Chris Wilder. He's done it at Northampton, he's done it at Oxford, he's done it at Halifax, and now he is doing it at Sheffield United. I think he's one of the best managers in the Football League, to be honest with you. Wigan, they're really struggling. They are only 4 points off the drop zone, and they have won none of their last 5 games. 1 draw and 4 defeats, and 4 defeats in a row before that game against Swansea, which they drew 2 apiece. Personally, I can only see a Sheffield United win here. I'm going 2-0 to the Blades, and they will continue their fine form. And if they continue, they will have a playoff position come the end of the season, which would be absolutely fantastic by Chris Wilder's men. Thanks so much for everyone who tuned in. If you did enjoy, please smash the subscribe button. Like the video if you enjoyed. I really hope you did. I am so grateful for all the support in 2018, and hopefully 2019 will be equally, if not as better than 2018. Thanks so much for everyone who has supported me over the year. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Mike, and I will see you soon.